a little spark, maybe. Dude, it was a, you know, the imagination.
Figment. Yeah.
It's figment. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Disney Deconstructed Podcast. I'm your host, Lain Calder. Today, I am joined by my good friend, Spencer Bennett.
What's up, everyone?
And the amazing, fantabulous Preston Moore, who is filling in for our good friend, Jake.
Hello, I'm fantabulous. That's quite the introduction. I appreciate that.
Of course, man. Thank you for being here. Jake is out of town, so we asked our good friend Preston to come on. And today we're just going to have, a discussion about Epcot mainly. We'll also talk about Disney Plus a bit. Mulan is coming up soon, so we'll talk about the premiere access and all the rumors that are flying around it. And then we will also be talking about some Nat Geo stuff that's getting added to Disney Plus soon. But for the most part, this is probably going to be an Epcot-centric episode. So if you fucking hate Epcot, then maybe skip towards the end.
I don't think anyone feels that strongly about Epcot.
I don't know if anyone fucking hates Epcot. I would hope not.
Maybe they hate Epcot, like regular hate.
Yeah. They have a slight distaste. So Epcot, that we saw on Twitter that the fountains have been replaced. The original fountains that I believe opened with the park, the big crystal looking things. There's 3 of them, and they're in like a little circle. You know the ones. They were taken out a long time ago, and now they've been put back. There's pictures on Twitter of them you can find easily. And I guess it's kind of this, we put up a poll about it actually, but it's kind of this battle between people who like retro shit and people who want new stuff. And to reflect that, we had a Twitter poll that went out where we asked what people think of the work that's currently being done to Epcot's entrance, and 83.3%, the mass majority, said, "Oh yeah, retro Epcot, baby." And a much smaller amount, 16.7% of people said that they want new Epcot stuff, rather than this trying to recreate retro Epcot so that people have some sort of the connection to it. And then 0%, no one voted for who cares. So it's basically just, like I said, this battle between people who like retro shit and like being nostalgic, and people who want a new Epcot.
I found that interesting that like nobody was just indifferent, that everyone had some sort of strong opinion on Epcot's new fountains.
I'm on
3 pieces of glass.
Yeah, I'm on the border between who cares and retro Epcot. I'm a sucker for retro stuff. I find like old advertisements and things very just interesting. But at the end of the day, like, is it really going to make or break Epcot? No, it's 3 pieces of glass. So, Preston, what's your opinion? You like the retro shit?
I really, well, the new fountain, or new, it's not new, but the fountain that they put up, I really like it. As far as like the retheming of the park as a whole, I don't think you can go wrong with the retro stuff. But that being said, you don't want to like entirely recreate it. If they can build something that's new and fresh, but also still has that feel, like that vibe of retro Epcot, of old Epcot, I think that's something that they should focus on. That should be the priority.
Yeah, it's definitely been, I think, a bit of at least a marketing move to kind of promote this retro 1980s Epcot idea. I mean, like when we were there last year, Spencer, they have the retro Epcot t-shirts. And that's been going on for a while. But then I think it was a few months, actually, it was probably like 6 months ago, because it was before COVID happened, I believe. I remember that they were posting these new posters at the park and online, basically recreating that, like the Future Arrives poster from the early 80s, basically recreating that for the new Epcot, saying that, or maybe it was at D23, that they released that, but trying to get people psyched for like the Play Pavilion and stuff, but also saying that, you know, there's some retro Epcot coming. Speaking of the Play Pavilion, we literally right before we recorded, like 10 minutes before we recorded, it was announced that a new monorail attraction is coming to the Play Pavilion at Epcot. And you know, it seems like there's mixed reactions to this. It's called the Monorail Mark X, but it's supposed to arrive in Epcot in 2021, so next year. So, you know, even COVID aside, that's a pretty tight deadline, it seems, unless they've been working on it for a while. But I guess all we really have is this one poster, and it says "Next Stop Play!" exclamation point for the Play Pavilion, and then Monorail Mark X arriving at Epcot in 2021. Mm-hmm. What are our opinions, boyos, of what this attraction could be like? Preston, you want to go first? What do you expect realistically of this attraction? Preston.
Oh no.
Oh, he's back.
I'm cutting out. I can't hear you guys. Am I back?
Yes.
So the monorail, I'm not sure, because I know we talked about it a little bit. I think it could be really cool. I know there was a tweet that someone posted, and it was like, it would be really cool if they did, like, they go to San Francisco and then they go to like Xandar, like for Guardians of the Galaxy. Right. Like they can go to all these different like exotic places, or they could take it maybe like around the park and stop in the different areas of the park because the park is so big. But I think it could also end up being like Soarin' 2.0, where you're basically just transported to all these different places around the world, which is like, you know, that's cool. Like Soarin's cool, but we have Soarin. So if they do it and they make it to where it's unique in its own way, you know, I think it could be, there's a lot of potential. But if they just do it to where you're taking the monorail to different stops around the world, we've got something like that in the same park already. So, I mean, it's super vague. That's just monorail attraction in the Play Pavilion. That's literally all we know. But I think it has potential to be really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, you know, some people on Twitter, like the tweet that you mentioned where it's like we could go to these different sections of the park, like we could have Xandar because of the Guardians of the Galaxy ride and whatnot that's coming, and we could go to San Francisco, and I'm not sure really what they have of San Francisco in Epcot currently besides the meet and greet with Baymax, but I think it would still be cool, and it fits kind of at least the future world idea.
Yeah, and they don't even have that Baymax meet and greet anymore.
That was really
part of the. Yeah, it's gone.
Okay.
So that was cool all they had. It was cool. It was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, Spencer like loved it. Yeah,
he's just so funny looking.
It's like a big little bubble. He gives you good hugs.
I enjoyed him.
You know, another person on Twitter was saying, you know, maybe this monorail will like take you to different Disney parks around the world. I think that could be cool, but it's also kind of branching into the, like you said, Preston, the Soarin' realm, where I'm not necessarily sure I want to, you know, have you know, the video of other places around the world as I'm going through this monorail ride, because it'd feel a lot like Soarin', and we already have that. I think that the coolest this attraction could be is if it takes a kind of a page out of the Hogwarts Express and, you know, shows us like video of like going on the windows, going to different locations and that sort of thing. But also taking you to a physical different location. I feel like that's kind of where I would like to see this go. Obviously that's probably a big budget, and that's not something that Disney really has right now. But it would still be fun to see. Spencer, what's your opinion?
Well, a lot, like you just said, a lot of the speculation has gone towards something like a Hogwarts Express, where the train is moving basically through backstage Universal Orlando, but they have screens on the windows that make it look like you're traveling from Hogsmeade to Diagon Alley. I think kind of what I was thinking just now when you guys were talking, is that Play Pavilion is supposed to be like Wreck-It Ralph, right? Something kind of a spin on that, where you're in the grid, sort of. You can go to these different, like really like highly themed electronic areas.
So I want to say yes. I know that Wreck-It Ralph is supposed to be like a part of it, in some way, shape, or form.
Something like that.
Yeah. So
So
I'll just say yes.
Okay. So if we're going to go off the idea that this will be a new themed monorail attraction, it is something special. They gave it a name, Monorail Mark X.
Right.
It could be something along those lines, where just within the Play Pavilion, they have a substantial bit of monorail track going around because if we're talking about budget, I mean, this could have already been constructed because Play Pavilion had ground broken on it. This could have been a plan from the beginning, and they're just now kind of just putting it out there. And really all they did was release a poster for it. So it could be something like, on Wreck-It Ralph in the Surge Protector, they travel between wires to the different games.
Yeah.
It could be something kind of like that, but with the different sections of the Play Pavilion, if they really lean into the Wreck-It Ralph influence, which I don't remember much about the announcement for the Play Pavilion at D23, but I just remember that Wreck-It Ralph was that's what stuck out to me about it, was in the concept art was Ralph and Vanellope, and like this whole idea of this sort of like digital universe you could go and play in, so to speak.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of what I would think would be interesting. And low budget, they can, if they have these tracks already built, these screens aren't going to be too expensive to install compared to building a full new like segment of monorail. Right. So this was already incorporated into the Play Pavilion plans. It would make sense that this isn't something they want to cut, because it wouldn't be, you'd make back your investment fairly quickly on it probably.
Yeah.
So I think that might be an interesting angle for it. It also could just be like a new monorail. It could just be a new monorail train that's being installed, and all the speculation is for nothing. But speculation's fun. That's what makes being a fan. That's when you see something cryptic and you go, "Oh, this is this," and
And it would still be nice to have a new monorail.
Sure, one with air conditioning.
Yeah, any air conditioned monorail is good at this point. And especially any type of monorail that brings a new track, I guess. Like, I don't really see them building new track through the direct center of Epcot. But, it would be nice to have, more places to go. This is like, I think that Spencer and I's biggest gripe with perhaps our trip to Walt Disney World was that you can't take the monorail everywhere. You got to get off and take the fucking boat or something. So it would be nice to see more track. I think
that was the idea with the Skyway, I think, was to bridge a lot of the gaps that the monorail didn't travel. I mean, in Disneyland, the monorail is effectively just another ride. Yeah. So it is a big step up from that, but I was always under the impression it connected everywhere. And I think eventually that would be cool if it did. But
right. I think that, going off of what you were saying earlier, my biggest fear-ish for what this could be is like a completely Wreck-It Ralph themed thing, because I don't really want that area of Epcot to just become Ralph Land. I like the first movie. I fucking hated the second one. But I don't think Wreck-It Ralph.
We don't talk enough about how bad Ralph Breaks the Internet is.
Oh my God.
I was shocked at how terrible it was. Like, it hurt me because I think the first one is so good. Yeah. And I saw Ralph Breaks the Internet at Chapman. We had like an early screening because I guess the director knew someone in like our animation department. Mm-hmm. And Jake and I were sitting next to each other watching it. And like halfway through, Jake leans over to me and goes, "Is this terrible?" I was like, yeah, this is really bad. And no, that's a high not recommend from me. I despise Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad, flat out. And so
you can't make an internet movie, man. Like, the minute you make an internet movie, the jokes are dated in like 5 minutes because the internet culture like just goes like so fast.
Yeah.
That you're never going to be able to keep it relevant. Whereas like the retro arcade theme from the first one is still relevant. Right. Who doesn't like arcades?
Yeah. Preston just dropped out. I think that he's having some internet issues. But we'll just continue talking and see if he comes back. So that's my biggest fear about this. I did not like that movie. I like Wreck-It Ralph as a character. I don't feel like he necessarily needs a whole part of a park dedicated to him. and that's probably why I'm cautiously optimistic about that part, because I think that you're right. I think that, you know, the Play Pavilion was advertised as a thing, you know, that would kind of be in line with Ralph Breaks the Internet, which ended up being awful. So I'm sure that ideas will change after the negative reception for that movie, because we haven't really heard much about it since then. So maybe Play
no
Pavilion
news of a third one or anything.
Yeah, maybe Play Pavilion will just be about arcade games.
That would be cool.
That would be
the
cool.
Concept art for it looked really, really neat.
Yeah.
And I understand why, if you have this idea for this kind of high-tech digital pavilion almost, that you would want it, but the IP that you would have to like pair it with to sell would be Ralph. Because it's kind of like Disney's, so to speak, like digital franchise, I guess, because it can, because you can tie it to that easily. So that may just kind of been the pitch package they had to do. It's like attaching a high caliber actor to like an indie script. You're like, here's the ace in the hole. We'll make it Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
I kind of think is what happened with the Moana thing too, which is just that walkthrough with water features. That's supposed to be really interesting. Probably was just a cool educational idea with water. And they said, but we'll sprinkle some Moana in there. And they said, okay, here's a big check. You know, that's how I think the Disney boardroom works. Sprinkle some Moana in here. Here's a big check.
Probably. Preston. Hello.
Hello, I'm back.
You're back.
Struggling. The Wi-Fi is struggling today. I don't know why.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens.
It's Wi-Fi is just a continuous problem with COVID. It's like everyone's, you know, on the same bandwidth and shit, and it's like
well, I did hear while I was gone, or while I was trying to fix my Wi-Fi, y'all were both talking mess on a movie that I liked.
Oh, really?
You liked?
I did.
Ralph Breaks the Internet.
I liked it. I've not. I'll say this: I haven't rewatched it, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Okay.
I thought it was on par with the first one.
Dude pops in right at
big take.
Yeah, big take there. He pops in right at the end of our shit fest on Ralph Breaks the Internet. It's like, I like that.
I heard it all. I was just muted and trying to fix my freaking internet.
Fucking hell.
No, I think it's a good movie. That's my take.
Wow.
How many stars out of 5?
Probably like 4.
Oh, fucking hell. Okay.
I give a lot of movies 4 though. I give a lot of movies 4. I'm pretty bad about that.
It's an 8 out of 10, man. That means you liked 80% of the film.
I think I did.
Oh my goodness.
Fuck.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's not
whatever.
okay. You're never
Fine.
welcome on again.
Fucking. As soon as that Fortnite joke happened in that movie, like I'm sure that you guys remember, like the second they did that Fortnite joke, I was fucking checked out. I was like, this shit sucks.
They did the YouTube bit for me, and I went, oh no.
Oh yeah.
When Ralph was doing videos of him like making, I don't even know what he was doing. I probably blocked it out of memory, but him just doing ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, it was so fucking.
I didn't like that part. I'll say that. The YouTube bit,
that's why it's 4 out of 5.
Didn't love that.
The YouTube is the one I don't give it.
The
out of
star
5.
off. Yeah.
There it is.
Fuck. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. Epcot's Food and Wine Festival is apparently happening right now, according to Spencer. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so before the show, we were, not a lot of news this week, so we were kind of sprawling Twitter. Sprawling maybe isn't a word, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Sprawling.
We were sprawling Twitter. Lane, I make up my own lingo. You should know this by now.
It almost sounds threatening if you're if you're sprawling something.
Yeah.
We were sprawling Twitter.
We were sprawling through the back streets.
We saw AJ Wolf at the Disney Food Blog, which is a good YouTube channel if you've never watched it. I like it a lot.
I have not watched it, but
it's a good channel. A lot of good Disney food stuff there. But they talked about that the Islands of the Caribbean Food and Wine Festival booth is open in Epcot again. Apparently it closed. But we didn't even know Food and Wine was going on. But apparently they've been doing a modified version of it since July 15th. So that's been happening. I think that makes sense. It's not something you necessarily have to cancel because it really is just food offerings.
Yeah.
Versus like the Halloween parties, and very likely the Christmas parties will be canceled too, because those are a full ordeal.
Right.
But it's nice that at least something's going on. That brings me some sort of happiness. I'm like, oh, cool. At least Food and Wine's happening.
Yeah.
At least Epcot still has a little bit of like Epcot soul to it at the moment.
Do you know if
Not just hallowed ground with people wearing face masks and
do you know if
gloves, and it's scary.
have the topiary Mickeys returned? Is that like
I think that's Flower and Garden in the spring.
Oh, fuck. I'm
Yeah.
stupid. Yes, you're right. So maybe they probably didn't do that because it was
Elaine,
closed
here's
at
me
that time.
rescinding your Epcot fan.
They probably didn't do that then because that was like height of COVID. Well, I mean, now is height of COVID.
I wonder if they did it anyway and they just left them there. They just cut the topiaries and sat them there waiting to open.
It can be the Food and Wine and Flower and Garden Festival.
Yeah,
just the
All of
Epcot
it.
lots
Fun
of
Times
commas.
Festival.
Yeah, lots
The
of
Food, Wine,
commas in
Flower,
that
and
title.
Garden Festival.
So that's happening at Epcot, which is nice to see. I mean, we weren't there during the Food and Wine Festival last time because it's July.
No.
But
Yes,
I
we
would
were in June.
in a non-COVID world, I would love to go, especially now that I'm of age. So,
Yeah. And I've become
when
more
I-
fond of wine recently, so I would be inclined to do it.
When I did the Disney College program, basically Food and Wine was going on, like I think 80% of the time that I lived there, and but I was 19, so it was the food festival, and that's it.
Wow.
Just the
Food
food.
and Food Festival. But it was fun. I would go with my 21-year-old friends and watch them have more fun than me, but
Yeah.
the food was good.
Nice.
Yeah, I've never been to it in Florida. In California, it's kind of like I don't know. It exists, but it's definitely not on the scale of Florida. For those of you who don't know, DCA does the Food and Wine Festival in the spring, I think. It's really just booths lining up the walkway to Pixar Pier, if you've ever been.
Right.
And then around by Goofy Sky School. And there's not a whole lot to it. You can buy like the sampler lanyard that lets you get all the different foods. But I'm a vegetarian, and there is stuff I can eat, but not a whole lot. So I've never partaken in it, even though I am a regular visitor of Disneyland.
Yeah.
But it does exist in DCA, and it's definitely lower scale. So at some point, I would like to see it in Florida.
I didn't even know that they did that
Yeah.
in DCA.
DCA
It sounds so much, respectfully, it sounds so much worse than Epcot's.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
I
I'm
mean,
sure it
sounds
is.
awful.
It's mostly just about the wine.
Yeah, it's just people in DCA. But here's the thing: DCA has like wine, like vineyards year round because they like have like the Napa country area, which is just across the street from Cars Land, because it's DCA and they just do whatever they want.
It's fine.
Because
It's
what the
fine.
fuck
Great.
is this?
No.
What the fuck is this park?
When you DCA, you have to suspend a little bit of like Disney theme brain, and then it's great because there's like Pixar Pier, and then there's Cars Land, which is a Pixar product, but not. It's fine. It's great. It's a lot of fun. It's Disney's like lovable, like, and we're gonna drop this here, and we're gonna drop that there. It works.
Yeah.
It's a great time. I love
it's Disney's
DCA.
hodgepodge land.
Yeah,
It's just
and
like
that's
a
what they
bunch
should.
of shit just thrown in there.
Yeah, I just can't believe they haven't changed the name yet. Because besides like the vineyards and Grizzly Peak, like there's really no California there. I know people are like, well, California used to have seaside piers. I'm like, yeah, but so did New York. Like Coney Island's a thing. Like there's seaside piers anywhere there's water. So I don't know if that's necessarily intertwined with California as far as like Pixar Pier goes. I think they should change the name to Disney's Worlds of Adventure. That was talked about for a long time. It makes sense. It answers all
That's very similar to Islands of Adventure, though.
I know. Yeah.
That's like the same thing.
They should
People
just call
would
it
get those
Disney's
confused
Epic
so much.
Universe.
Uh-huh.
They would.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I don't know how I got in this track, but DC had his Food and Wine, and it's not great.
Yeah.
And I would like to see it in Epcot.
DCA should just give up and become Westcott. That's what everyone
Dude,
wants.
After Defunctland like ended DCA's career when it like put that video up about Westcott, that full extensive like hour-long video about Epcot, and everyone just went, or about Westcott, and everyone just went, oh, this would have been better. And then DCA was just murdered.
Speaking of Defunctland, they're launching their like first ever I guess feature-length film on YouTube with their other shit in like a few days, which I am super excited to watch because I like to just get the snacks out lean back and watch some Defunct Land because it's so fucking long. So they're all like 40-minute videos. So I'm excited for that. Take up some more time in this world where we're just not doing anything. To go in kind of a different direction, maybe break with parks for a bit. It's been kind of, well, I guess this is kind of a crossover between parks and streaming, but it's been confirmed that Magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom is set to premiere September 25th on Disney Plus. This is a Nat Geo show, and it's also a Disney Plus original. So a bit of a mouthful there, but basically Nat Geo is doing the show, and then they're going to post it on Disney Plus, and it's all about it's a docu-series about Animal Kingdom. I know that of any of us, Spencer's the most excited.
Oh yes.
So tell us a bit about how you feel about the announcement of this show.
I mean, I'm gonna watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Watch it religiously, I'm sure, even if it's bad. There's been so many documentaries about Animal Kingdom. Like if you search on YouTube, like Animal Kingdom documentary, you'll get so many like hour-long videos.
Yeah.
Because it was such a ambitious theme park when it opened. Like it was nothing like that.
Groundbreaking.
And now it's been attempted to be replicated so many times. I mean, our local theme park growing up in Sacramento was Six Flags Discovery Kingdom,
Hell
which is
yeah.
basically if you like getting sick and Animal Kingdom, you should go to Six Flags. But I'm super hyped. Yeah, I'm glad. It's interesting that Disney's doing basically like an in-house documentary about the parks, because the Imagineering story was the same idea, and that was like one of the best documentary series like I'd ever seen, and like is unbelievably good. And everyone I talk to who hasn't, like my roommates have never seen it, and I'm like, guys, you'll understand why like I aspire to do that when you watch that video. Because that is the coolest job in the world. And they definitely show you like, yeah, this is the coolest job in the world. Like they're very clear about it. So yeah, I'm excited. Anything with more Joe Rohde, I'm in. He is the coolest man alive, I'm assuming. So
has it been like talked about like what exactly is going to be covered in the show, or is it mostly going to be like the animal habitat, or is it just,
considering it's Nat Geo, I bet they'll lean into that more.
Yeah,
it probably will just be how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of those. I think it'll be probably more leaning into the animal side, just because it's National Geographic. I can't see them like showing off Dino Land a lot, or, you know, like we're gonna look at the Dino-rama.
Yeah,
the magic,
guys, you're not ready for what I'm about to say. You're not ready for what I'm about to say. This is a throwback to an early Preston Moore Deconstructed appearance. It's hosted by none other than Josh freaking Gad.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Are you serious?
The docu-series? Fuck.
Yes. Josh Gad telling me about Animal Kingdom. Sign me up.
The guy is literally so fucking corporate at this point.
Hey man, don't you dare talk ish on Josh Gad.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the man, the myth, the legend.
Josh Gad.
Don't
do it.
Don't speak
not with me on the podcast. You don't say anything bad about Josh Gad.
It's 2-on-1 here.
Preston Moore's we're like the biggest Josh Gad fans, man.
Yeah. Oh, I think you are. You should let him know.
Write him some fan mail.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for this series. I think it'll be cool. I mean, anything involving Animal Kingdom is cool. I assume that it'll probably kind of be like a mix between covering these animals and also on Disney Plus they have that series that's like the Magic of Disney, or like One Day at Walt Disney World or whatever, or One Day at Disney, I think it's called. I think it'll
cool series if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I think it'll be kind of similar to that, where it's like, here's how shit works. And while that's a fairly simple setup, it's just cool because it's Animal Kingdom.
I'm interested to see if they really go into Kilimanjaro safaris.
Yeah,
because I have like a box set. I don't know if you guys remember this. Like Discovery Channel in like the early 2000s did like the undiscovered Disney parks or something, and it was like a 45 episode miniseries about like the Disney parks.
Okay,
and I have it on a box set. And the Animal Kingdom episode's really cool, and they like sort of go into like how safaris works with all the different barriers, because when you're riding it, you can't even tell that the lions are like
Right.
separated from the whatever animals are from the gazelles.
Elephants
I don't know.
and
I forget what
giraffes.
animals lions eat. They eat everything. Who cares? But there is like barriers, and there's really like clever stuff that separates them. So I want to go more into that because I'm like a science guy. I have a pet tortoise. I'm a little bit on the naturey side, so
I'm a pet
I'm here
tortoise,
for it.
therefore I like science.
Yes,
I'm a
makes
man
sense.
of science.
I'm a man of science.
I
a
have
little
my
tortoise
pet tortoise.
He's eating kale right now. He's having a good time.
Yeah, dude, that's so sciencey. I can't even comprehend,
Wow.
dude.
My science-ness is out of control.
Oh my god. Preston, you gonna watch this or no? Is this something you're interested in, the series?
Oh my god, the second time.
Preston? Anyone? Bueller?
I'm back. What'd you say?
I was asking you if you're excited about the show.
It's this freaking Wi-Fi. If my Wi-Fi gets better so I can watch it in 4K, yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm
not,
excited
no.
for it. If not, I'm less excited, but I still will watch it. But yeah, no, I think it's a really cool idea. I mean, it's not an idea that hasn't been done before, but it's going to be probably more widespread and more like seen because it's on Disney Plus. It's Disney Plus original, so they're going to market the crap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll probably, I mean, I think it's going to get a lot of traction. And honestly, like, I know when they launched Disney Plus, they were like, we have Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, also National Geographic. Like that was like the fifth one that I was like, okay, that's cool too, I guess. Because they're putting it on the same level as like these entertainment powerhouses, and they're like, nature too.
You remember that magazine you saw in the doctor's office that one time? We got that.
We have that too. No, but I think that's like, I think it will be cool because it's kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the first National Geographic Disney Plus original that has gotten so much attention. I think they've done a few, maybe, but I haven't watched
I think
any.
the Jeff Goldblum one that was open. That
Oh,
came
that was Nat Geo.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that would be the only counter I have to that.
I forgot that was Nat Geo. But
that was a good show. We don't talk about that enough. I like that.
I
show.
liked that show. That was fun. But
Yeah,
I think it's cool
solid.
it's a cool way to connect Nat Geo to like, you know, Disney and maybe show like, hey, National Geographic can be a part of Disney Plus because we're going to make it about Disney, but also National Geographic. So I don't know. I think it'll be really cool.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back to talk about Disney Plus in a bit of a larger sense. And welcome back. Boys, let's I don't know what that was. Boys, let's have an open conversation about Disney Plus.
Yes. Is this the rumored premium video on demand?
Spencer, don't spoil what I'm about to say.
You said open blanket. Let's boys, let's talk Disney Plus.
Okay.
Are we angling this? Or are we just saying, yeah, it's neat?
That was the setup. He was setting him up for a home run.
Yeah,
you lobbed me up and I went, here we go, spike.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to lob and I wanted to spike.
You can't do everything, Lain.
Yeah, fuck. So Disney confirmed, or no, well, not really, but there's a high rumor that Disney is going to upload more of the upcoming like blockbuster movies on Disney Plus. Because the main reason for me is why come up with this whole Premier Access brand if you're only going to do it for one movie one time? And that's Mulan. If you didn't listen to, what was that, 2 episodes ago? No, it might have been the last one.
That was last episode.
Okay. So last episode we did talk about that a bit. They call it Premier Access on Disney Plus. And I think it was the Preston, you said it was Bob Chapek that said that they're not going to do it again. This is the one time.
Yeah, Chapek said it was going to be a one-off. I think it was actually Spencer that said this earlier, but Chapek said it was going to be a one-off, and everybody's kind of like, okay, well, whatever, you know.
Yeah. Sure, Bobby. Sure, Bobby boy.
I think, you know, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they put more movies on this thing, and I hate it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did it, just because, you know, at the end of the day, and this is kind of cynical, I guess, but at the end of the day, all this company cares about is money. Profit is most important, I think.
The business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it is a business.
Especially after losing like billions of dollars from the parks division with coronavirus. So if Mulan is successful and makes a lot of money, which I think it probably will, they will do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Probably with Soul first, I think.
Oh, I didn't think about Soul.
Well,
Yeah,
they still want that to be like eligible for awards and everything, because that was like, they were really gearing up for that.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll probably be the first one that does. I would be shocked if Black Widow did, just because it's Marvel. But if we got into a situation where, you know, the pandemic lasted a lot longer and movie theaters were not opening up and things were like, if it lasts, you know, until, you know, next summer, then maybe they do go for it and put Black Widow on there, just because they're like, screw it, we'll release it in whatever theaters are open, and everyone else who wants to see it can pay premiere access.
Yeah. I'm kind of on the same page. I feel like the thing that might change is the price, just because, you know, there was a pretty big social media backlash against the $30 price tag for Mulan. But they have to do this again, right? There's just, with Disney, there's the amount of studios that encompass Disney now, especially after the Fox merger, is like, how can you not upload things? There's just too much shit in the slate. So I think that, like, obviously this news, so for background, this news leak came out on Twitter after someone talked to a Disney Plus customer rep, and basically that customer service rep said that more big movies were going to come onto Disney Plus as part of the Premier Access thing. So it has not been like officially done. Obviously, I think that these customer service reps probably aren't informed of what's going to happen in the future of Disney Plus. And, you know, if they do, then they probably don't have much of a script for when people ask about it. And so that's what that one service rep said. And that's kind of where we're taking this. And I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense to put things on Disney Plus, excuse me, that you couldn't release in theaters, like Soul. I agree with you, Preston. I think that that's definitely probably going to happen.
I think the most likely ones going forward, probably, if they're going to do it, I really don't want them to. I hate it so much. And I could go on a tangent for that, but it'll probably be Soul, Jungle Cruise, and Cruella.
Oh, yeah.
You think Jungle Cruise will go up? I think The Rock would definitely have a fight in that, because he's such like a theatrical guy. Like, he's like the blockbuster. He's like the last movie star. Him and like Pratt right now are movie stars in a traditional sense. So I don't know if he would let it happen. I mean, I'm sure Disney would think about it, but The Rock is, you know, seeing those pearly whites on my screen in my house would not be the same as in person. I won't be as charmed.
That's also true, but I do think just because of what Jungle Cruise, what Jungle Cruise is, just as a brand, you know, it's not like, it looks really good, and obviously we want it to be successful, but it's not like a heavy hitter like Black Widow. You know? It's not a big Marvel movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that Soul is going to get put up, like it has to, because we've already seen like. I'll say this. I think that the animation ones are probably more likely to get put up, just because there's a bigger slate for those. It seems like we got there's the dragon movie that's coming out, right? In like a year or something.
Yes.
Mara or something in the
Raya.
Last Dragon.
Raya and the
Raya.
Last Dragon.
Yeah, okay. So that's coming
gonna be
out.
really, really good.
It
by the
looks
way.
it looks great from what we've seen so far, which is not much.
They showed a clip at D23, I think, and it's gonna be crazy. And the villain in that movie is gonna be really scary.
Oh boy.
Oh
That is
man.
what I have heard.
I like scary.
Yeah. I think that because that's coming out in a year. We also have the new the new Pixar movie, the Italy one that's supposed to come out. We have Soul that is coming out, like supposed to be November, I believe. And so there's a large animation slate between Disney animation studios and Pixar, and I guess you could throw Blue Sky into there as well. And something's going to have to get put up online.
Has Disney not dissolved them? Are they still a thing?
No, I mean, they made that Will Smith movie with Tom Holland. Where
I thought that was Sony.
He turns into a bird. No, I think that was Blue Sky.
Spies in Disguise.
Yeah, that one. I'm pretty sure that was Blue Sky. They make like one movie every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, they made the Peanuts movie, and that movie was great.
Yeah.
It was a joint production between Sony and Blue Sky.
Okay.
So we were both correct.
And then they made Robots. Remember Robots?
Dude, Robots is great. That movie has so much great like coming of age themes.
Yeah.
And who doesn't remember Aunt Fanny? Come on now.
Oh yeah.
What a classic comedy bit.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor. Oh my gosh.
Robin Williams. Oh my God, Ewan McGregor is Rodney.
Yeah, he's the main character.
Never put that together. My whole body is trembling.
We'll just have to
Robin Williams is Fender.
Yeah.
And you have Big Weld. Oh, I'm watching Robots tonight. It's done.
Dude, we got to watch Robots on the show.
Yeah, for no reason other than it's technically now a Disney product. So we can
pretty much.
Pick of the week is already Robots. Just write it down right now.
Oh my God. But basically, yeah, something's gonna have to get put up on Disney Plus. Premiere Access is not ending. That's bullshit. I think that it's going to be Mulan first.
They made a whole ass logo for it.
Exactly.
Premiere Access, like
yeah.
And I can't. I just hate it so much. It really worries me that it could be the beginning of the end for movie theaters. If
it totally is
successful for Disney, and then Amazon tries it, and then Netflix tries it. I mean, Netflix doesn't really, I guess, release a lot of their films in theaters, but you know what I mean? A lot of studios may reach out to streaming services and be like, hey, Mulan made a ton of money. You want to release this Sony movie on Netflix or whatever they're affiliated with. I don't know. But you know what I mean? That worries me a lot because I don't want the movie theater industry to die. That would be ideal, but it doesn't look good if Mulan makes a ton of money.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was on the horizon anyways that movie theaters were kind of going to turn into like really just where you go to see a Marvel movie. It was more like a spectacle thing. And I've talked about them before, but Red Letter Media is like one of my favorite YouTube channels, and they're just two cynical guys who just make fun of everything. But they have a really good take on like where movie theaters are going to go, and that you're basically going to go to like Disney buildings or Warner Brothers buildings, and they're going to have like their own theaters where they just show their big movies. And that like AMC's and these other chains are kind of, that industry is going to die. And it's really going to be, you can rent a Warner Brothers movie in HBO Max, or you can go to the Warner Brothers building down the road and go see a theater.
Right.
Go watch like their specific movie. Like they're going to absorb like AMC and Cinemark. They're each going to like buy their own thing. And that's kind of going to be what theaters are. And then everything else just be streaming, which is like a bummer because like we're all three of us are film guys. Lain and I were both film students in school, and I still am. And, you know, we're big theaters are quintessential movie experience, but I definitely think, especially with the pandemic kind of accelerating what may have been an inevitable fate anyway, I think you're going to see a lot of less movie theater, just movie theaters in general. They're going to be
Yeah, that's something I wouldn't be surprised to see. I mean, like, if this turns out to be profitable, then that's definitely the way things are going to go. Do you guys think that the $30 price tag will stay for like future premiere access movies?
Depends if people pay for Mulan.
Yeah.
I think there's no way. If they can get away with it, 100%. 100%. I think we'll have to wait to see the numbers.
Can you imagine $50 for the next Avengers movie or something?
Well, here's the thing, and I said this on last week's show. And if you're going to drop like Black Widow or some big movie on Disney Plus, you charge $50. Compare that to a theater experience where if you're going to see one of those movies, I mean, we go hard in the paint. We get popcorn. We
gotta
get
get the popcorn.
You go if you're going to watch like Avengers or just any Marvel movie, or just any big blockbuster. Like you want that wholesome, like eating junky food, drinking straight up sugar, eating candy, like watching the movie. Like that's that blast of like childhood nostalgia and wonder.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to cost you like $50 anyway, with like a group of friends. So if you can
Dude, your description
together,
of a night at the movies was just so like that was so fucking romantic, bro.
Dude, I'm so glad. I like the movies, man. I'm a big fan. But I think if you get a group of friends together and you watch Black Widow for $50, you all spend $10. You know,
it's cheaper.
It sounds crazier than I think it might actually be in execution.
Yeah.
But you know, I still would like it to not do well purely I want it to do well because I want Disney to kind of rise back up because I don't want the company to be in trouble because I love them.
I love them.
But also I want theaters to exist, so I want them to lose too. So I really am just watching from afar in horror in both directions.
Gotcha.
Are you guys gonna pay for Mulan?
Yeah, probably.
I think what we might do is like if it works to where you get it once and it's just on everyone's profile forever, then I think Spencer, Jake, and I might split it and do it that way. I hope that there's no way that you pay $30 for a one-time.
No, it's been
watch,
confirmed
right?
you keep it.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if they're gonna like separate it by profile or what they're gonna do. But
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't make any sense to do that because it's all coming from one payment, and we just Venmoed
Right.
you for the thing. So I imagine that we'll all have access to it if we buy it. And my roommates have already talked about wanting to watch it, so why not?
Yeah. So that's probably what we'll do, Preston.
Yeah.
That's what I'm torn on it because I want to watch Mulan because I've been looking forward to it for such a really long time, but I also don't want to contribute if this is like spelling the end of movie theaters. I don't want to contribute to that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I know what you're saying.
Okay. So let's do our picks of the week. Let's wrap this shit up.
Oh yes.
So Spencer, I'll let you go first, then Preston, I'll wrap up the end.
Well, for irony's sake, I'll say robots because I said that earlier.
Fuck.
But what have I been watching on Disney Plus? That would be more interesting than just saying robots. Oh, I watched the pilot of the Hercules animated series yesterday, and you know what? It was just okay. It was fun enough. I forgot that Disney did that in like the 90s and 2000s where they would just spin off their movies into TV series that were not canon and didn't make like any sense in the timeline.
Yeah, Lilo and Stitch. Like, didn't that
I mean, that's probably
show?
the best example. Like that show was great.
I grew up on that. I grew up on that.
Yeah.
That show.
I keep offending both of you with my takes.
Yeah.
Right here. This is I have him right here.
Well, look at him read.
The series. Look at him read. It's an ugly ducklings.
He's reading.
Ugly duck.
Yeah. People who are listening to this and not watching the video episodes are so confused. But, yeah.
There is a Stitch figurine.
I'm holding. Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to? Okay. He's holding Stitch, a little plastic Stitch, and he has an open book on his lap, like he's under a tree on a nice summer day, and he is reading The Ugly Duckling.
Nice. Wow.
But back to what I was saying. Yes, they used to do weird spin-off TV series that are good. And I heard the Tangled one is great. Haven't watched it yet. But I recommend if you have a little bit of free time, give them a gander, especially a movie you like, because there's one for like every movie, like every Renaissance movie. There's the Aladdin one, there's Mermaid. I don't think there's Beauty and the Beast because that was like the gold standard at the time, but you know, there's plenty to go around. So if you're feeling extra zesty, give them a watch.
Zesty, wow. Preston, what's your pick?
I don't know if it's my pick, but it's what I've been watching lately on Disney Plus. The new Muppets show, Muppets Now.
What do you think of that?
I want to like it so bad, and I keep trying to every time they drop an episode, but I don't.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not a good idea. I feel like, and I'm not a film student, but I think I could write a better Muppets show. And that, I don't want to be saying that, but I think I could, because I just feel like there are a lot of routes that you can go with the Muppets, and having them scramble to upload a show onto a streaming service and where they all have their own little segments. It's interesting because I think something that's so great about the Muppets is that they're all kind of together, you know?
Right.
But here we've got them in different segments, and also the jokes aren't very funny. So I don't know. That's what I've been trying to like and watch.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I watched the pilot, and I was kind of I was bummed out that it was like kind of what all of us have been joking about since the beginning of the pandemic, which is like, oh man, every TV show and every movie is going to be like, oh, we're on Zoom. And it's kind of what Muppets Now is. So that was lame. But I'm like, I'm a big Muppets guy, man. I got my Kermit right here. Like I'm a big Muppets guy. And it's not that great of a show. Yeah. Why don't they just do the Muppet Show again? Or just release the Muppet Show on Disney Plus? Because the thing about the Muppet Show is it is genuinely really funny. And it's from like the 80s and 90s, and that is a funny show.
Yeah.
And it was like a great like parody of like late night television, like variety shows. I don't know why they don't just release that and then just doing a continuation of that. I mean, Muppets are probably immune to coronavirus. They can all get together and film. So why not just do that?
Wow.
Come on. You think Kermit? You think Kermit? I combined Kermit and Ribbit. That was great. You think Kermit and his boys can get COVID? I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not. I don't really have a Disney pick for this week. I will say, probably honestly after we record, I'm planning on watching a movie that on Disney Plus that I have not seen. It's probably, there's a good chance it'll be 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, because Spencer and Jake have been talking about it nonstop, and I have never seen it. So there's a good chance I'll be watching that. So I'll just put that as my pick of the week.
It is good. It definitely has the traditional fallbacks of an old movie, which is that the middle is boring.
Yeah. It's just slow as fuck.
It's just old. Yeah. It's just kind
of
how it is.
The takes are just like so long. Like the camera's just like panning and
there's some great acting.
And then it'll pan it back. And then, we got to pan again as they're leaving. Like, yeah, fucking old movies, man.
But there's great acting. There's great effects for like the 50s. And it's a good adaptation of the book. So it's a good movie. It's got Kirk Douglas in it, and then his heyday.
Yeah.
Who I think just recently died, and he was like 103.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That dude was old.
If we're not, then we'll sound stupid, but whatever. That's kind of what this show's about, right?
Yeah.
You know what? A good saga, you could say, saga of movies, that kind of shows that like progression in camera technique is Star Wars, because the original ones, like, it's just fucking still, like the camera's just sitting there and that's just kind of panning and panning and panning. Obviously it's still like a fast-paced movie and all, but that's how the original trilogy is. Then you get the prequel trilogy where we got all these fucking digital zooms and shit. And then in the sequel trilogy, you've got the camera is never still in the sequel trilogy. It's just like fucking swooping around.
That's JJ.
Yeah, that's JJ. It's just swooping. And, it's always got to like sling around a character as they're like, we're going to attack the First Order. and shit like that.
And then lens flare.
And then a couple lens flares.
Lens flare.
That's 2020 filmmaking for you. Okay, so we're gonna end things off there. Preston Moore, thank you for joining us. Thank
you so much. It was fun. It's a good time.
Yeah,
I'm always glad to be on the show.
Yeah, thank you for filling in for Jake. Tell the people where they can find you and what you're up to right now.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Preston C. Moore. Currently, I've been working a lot on my own podcast, which is called Unofficial Experts.
Hey.
I think you may, if you are a frequent listener of the Disney Deconstructed podcast, you may have a couple, you may hear some familiar voices on there here in a few weeks.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it's super duper fun. I bring on young people every week and we just talk about their passions, things they enjoy. Episode 2 actually dropped today. I don't know when this Disney Deconstructed episode is releasing.
This will be Monday.
So episode 2 came out 2 days ago if you're listening on Monday.
It's live on YouTube. It's on all the platforms.
Yeah. What's episode 2 about? What's your focus?
It is about photography. I talked with my good friend Raymond, who I actually had a podcast with last year. It failed, but that doesn't matter. But I talked with him. He recently moved to LA to pursue photography full time.
Nice.
And we kind of talk about how he's adapted to that and like all these different stories that he has from photo shoots. It was a really, really fun time. And then next week, if you're looking forward to it, I talk with a friend of mine named Kayla, and we're going to talk about a lot of fandom related stuff and how she's met a lot of people through the internet, through just being in different fandoms. So it's really, really fun. First episode was about aviation. Talked with a friend of mine who's a pilot. If you're interested in any of those things or anything at all, we will probably cover it. So it's super fun. You should give it a listen.
Yeah,
Unofficial Experts is the name.
Yeah, it's a really cool show. Preston's awesome. He's fantabulous. So go ahead and check out that Unofficial Experts. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Disney Deconstructed podcast. If you would like to further support our program, go ahead and visit us at anchor.fm/Disney Deconstructed. There you can see a complete list of our podcast distributors, send us some messages that are related to the show, and even sign up to make a monthly donation so that we can keep rolling out these episodes in a timely manner for you. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at Lain Calder and at Spencer Bennett 7, and follow Jake Moody at Jake Moody 98. You can also spread the word by telling a friend about our show and help us grow our small community of Disney fanatics. As always, thank you for listening, and we'll be back with more Disney news next week. Writing, producing, and editing for this episode of the Disney Deconstructed podcast was done by my two co-hosts, Jake Moody and Spencer Bennett, and myself, Lain Calder. The music for our program was composed by Brandon LaBelle. The font for our logo was designed by Edward Pincaba. Our beautiful faces were drawn by Sarah Bermudez. Disney Deconstructed is a proud participant in the Deconstructed Podcast Network. Link in the description. Thanks for joining us, folks, and we'll see you down the bayou.